just a good old boy.
Hey y'all, well, today's the day. We're back in the field. Finally got the sprayer done, and the weather's finally, since I got the sprayer done, cooperating. But before we get started, I gotta change my settings over from planter width to sprayer width. It's still the same width as what I was using because I didn't change the lines. I can easily add another 2 feet just by adding 2 more nozzles. If I wanted to do some of those broadcasting nozzles off to the side, I could cover even more, but I just don't have a need to. I'm trying to get all these in. 182, 0, 105, the other one's in. Alright. Lord, this thing's been a cluster. Alright, so basically we would have done started by now, but I'll give it a few minutes to mix. But I've been working on a sprayer. The weather hasn't been cooperating really at all, other than about 2 days we had, 2 or 3 days we had there while I was working on a sprayer. I could have sprayed. It was very windy though. Or borderline anyway. So this first day we really had an opportunity to get in the field due to the weather this year, so we're skipping the cow pastures for now. I'm going in straight hay ground because the grass is growing like crazy, even though there's no fertilizer been put out yet either. The ground is too wet to get it for the trucks to get across, and that's what's stopping us. Here we go. I'm hoping everything's gonna work. We'll see. This is the sprayer unfolding. So y'all know I built the booms to go on this thing. My old ones were not hydraulic at all. There we go. Fire up. Working. Find the right gear. I can't remember exactly which gear was 5. I try to run 5 miles an hour when I'm doing this, but we'll see. Well, we're running a little bit fast in that gear. It's been a while. Can't dial it in exactly to the speed I want to run. Because one thing that's been a problem is my regulator on this thing. Not the electric one, but the regular one that adjusts the actual flow that goes to the system has been messed up. I didn't have time to replace it. I've got a new one. I'm probably going to try to replace it after today. And then I can get my ground speed a little bit closer. I'm off by like 0.2 from what I'd like to be running, but that's alright. This field's a little rough anyway, this ground is. I'm going to be spraying today. So we're going to see how this thing will do. Kind of take it a little bit easy. That's about where I want to be on height. I do have a full adjustment on height. Raise it or lower it. But we're started. 2020, well, 2020 hay preparation started back last year, but when we planted, I've got more planting to do. I hadn't got done doing that this spring, but we hadn't got to it yet because of the weather. It's been too wet to drill anything. I've got the seed, everything's sitting waiting, but the weather just hasn't cooperated. It's been too wet to plant anything. You can't get anything in the ground right now. I'd say there's a lot of guys wanting to put corn in the ground right now down here in the south, but as wet as it's been, I don't see how in the world they could plant. I can't even sow fescue. It's so wet here. But what do you do? Here, let me stop. I'll show y'all how high this thing will go. Pick her up. There's max height right there, so that's pretty good compared to what I was doing. Drop her on back down to where I want to be at today. So that'll be good for me in Johnson grass. I had a little bit of trouble with my regulators. Spin y'all back around. I had a little bit of trouble with my regulator, well, not with my regulators, my shutoffs. The shutoffs on the sprayer, I didn't want to bore everybody with another sprayer video because I think everybody's about tired of the working on the sprayer videos, but I'm trying to lay this thing off. I'm not exactly spaced the way I need to be, but with these turrets it's a little bit aggravating starting out. Once I get my outer rounds down, I'll start running back and forth and I'll get a lot more accurate. And I gotta remember to shut it off. I ain't done this in a while. A little rusty. But yeah, my solenoids for my shutoffs that goes to this box were sticking, which they normally do. When you get them out in the spring, you generally take your hammer and you tap it, or tap them a little bit, and they'll come unstuck and go back to work, and you never had no more issues. Just one, I've had them tap a couple times and that's it. But this time, I got it out. I put it away properly, everything, and I got it out, and they didn't want to work. Two of them didn't. I had one that was working perfect. I never even had an issue with it, and then the other two refused to work. So I wound up, I had to pull them off of the body, and then I had to take them completely apart, lube the little shaft in there that the magnet from the solenoid pulls on, and sand it down. It had some buildup and stuff on it. So I cleaned them up, put them back together, screwed it all back together, and when I went to go put it back together, I over-tightened the two that I took off onto the good one, because they all screwed together, and I busted the housing on the good one. Oh, I was one sick puppy when that happened. I mean, I was sick. And you get everything out. Unfortunately, I wish I was at the house right now. We are modifying, well, we built a building, which would make another good video is why. We built a building several years ago. It's the one I park all my tractor and baler and everything in. I know y'all seen it in the videos, I don't know how many times. That building was actually built to hold feed ingredients and fertilizer and stuff when we needed to buy it in bulk. Well, we've never used it for that. We've always just parked equipment in it. After we done it, we just never used it. So this year we have reached some, we'll just say some headaches with our fertilizer deal. I hadn't went over really that yet, and I'll go more in detail in that later. And we're having to modify that building to take in bulk. Well, not modifying it. We're lining the building with tin on the bottom, so that way we can take bulk fertilizer in off tractor and trailers. So that way we can do it that way. Got some stuff probably coming up this fall that I'm going to be doing. I'm probably going to be spreading lime, a lot of lime this fall. Our ground needs a lot of lime by the soil test that I got back, which I've known. We put out some lime about 2 years ago, but we didn't put none out last year, and we're going to have to go over quite a few. Not all of them. Good many of them was okay, but we've had some that needs quite a good, some decent, a ton to the acre of lime. So we've got to go over several of them later this fall and put down a ton to the acre. I'm not going to put more than that because I don't like to do that. It won't never take, with lime, it won't take the ground. If you do over a ton to the acre, in my experience, it seems to do better if you do a ton and nothing more, and then come back the following year and do another ton, and just spread it out over like a 2 or 3 year period, or to get it to where it needs to be, than going out there and just dumping it all at one time. It just doesn't seem to take into the ground as good as if you just do it in increments. So that's what the plan is. We'll be getting a wagon probably from the fertilizer company. Well, I may. We have a guy that might, depending on how it goes, might spread it for us. So I don't know. He threw out a price to us that was not bad, so we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. If I'm tied up planting, we may just let him do it, but who knows. That's the biggest thing with me with doing fertilizer and stuff. I just don't have the time to do it myself and spray, and my sprayer is not set up to do liquid nitrogen, and even then I still got to put down my potash and phosphorus and lime if I did it myself. So that's another wrench in the thrown into the mix there that can be a little bit annoying. Is that I just don't have the time to do it all. I can't get over all the ground myself. I only got one GPS. My dad don't care nothing about doing none of that. My grandpa don't do none of that. I'm the one that has to do any of this. My dad runs the 300-gallon sprayer without a GPS, and which it don't need them no bigger than the booms are. It's got the same size booms this one used to have. I think they're only like 20 foot, if they're that. They might be a little over 20. They're right around 20 foot booms. They're not real big. You can't get over a lot of ground with it versus this sprayer. I can cover up to 60 acres in a day with this one if I really need to. So I mean, I'll spray every day I can for the next 2 months. I mean, I cover a lot of ground with this sprayer here. Probably about, I don't know, close to 1,000 acres of this one. So I mean, I go over a good bit. He sprays quite a bit too. He'll spray 600 gallon in a day. Here she is, y'all. Been spraying with it all day. Had a couple little just tiny problems all day. Little tweaking and adjustments I've had to do. One thing's been the cables. Everything works fine. I'm probably gonna have to put 2 clamps on these instead of 1, because if you rub the ground, you can tell I've got dirt on it. I rubbed the ground in a couple bad spots that was real unlevel with it at all. It'll loosen these up and then they start to flop. So then you got to reset them and tighten them back down. Probably should have put another one of these garage door springs, say right here to there or something, to hold, so that way it'd pull pressure on it and keep it, but still allow it to have some flexibility to it. Might be something I do a little bit later. Haven't made up my mind yet, but what I did, well, first off, what I wound up and done was I hooked a cable over here like that on the other side, and it pulls through 3 pulleys. There's 1, right here like this on the other side right there. And then you got, it comes up and goes through these two and then back out to this disc. And as you open it, that other boom, it'll pull that and pull this around, as y'all probably remember seeing me do. The return, we'll walk around here, is that closes back, it releases that pressure. And then when it releases that pressure, this garage door spring that I've got here pulls this back around into a rubber bump stop that I made and folds it all back in. And then when it folds too, it goes right up there into those mouths. I can pin them in them if I want to and set it down. It's fully hydraulic. There's a cylinder to open and close this side. There's another one on this side. And then I've got an up and down cylinder for boom height that slides up and down on this frame. All that looks to have held up perfectly today, and I've been on some rough ground at times today. Haven't really had any issues structurally at all with it. It's all been just the cables and if I did touch the ground or hit a tree limb or something with those. So I'm probably going to be changing that up just a little bit. I hadn't made up my mind exactly what I'm going to do. I may do the garage door springs, or I could just get some extra clamps to go on those to make sure they hold. Obviously the main thing is you don't want to run it in the ground. Painted the cart, sprayed it black, put new stickers on it, painted the wheels silver. Other than that, it's really basically the same sprayer other than the new booms I built. That's pretty well it. So now I've got this thing has been, if y'all been following me for a while with this project, I've been working on this sprayer, changing it a little bit ever since I started YouTube, really, and a little bit before actually. We went to a bigger pump, then I went to I added the control valves to shut it off, and I made the booms longer. I got a GPS for it so that way I could keep up with how wide I was with the booms. I didn't like the booms that was on it. I've been planning on building these new booms now for a while. We did that. I also added a quick fill port over here that runs up to the top of the tank. Over there for the pumps, we added all that too. Plus I built a pump basically made a trailer to haul water. Got a pump to pump into the tanks. When we bought this thing, the cart was in bad shape. None of these braces were across the front right here. It was folding out. It was just a mess. Now we've got everything straightened out. The frame's pretty good shape on it. Got brand new hydraulically folding booms. Don't have to touch anything to get those to move. Fully hydraulic height control. I've got section control electronics to shut off and control my flow rate. A monitor in the cab to shut everything on and off. I've got a pump. I can set my RPMs at anywhere I want and adjust it. That puts out enough flow with the regulator and everything. And one thing I did the whole time I was building this sprayer, from the time we got it till now, is I've always tried to buy and put parts on it that I could easily buy any hardware store anywhere. That's one thing I've always made sure of that I did. A lot of people's probably thinking, well, sometimes that's not the best quality stuff. It's not, but I use good quality stuff from TJ and the cheaper versions, so that way I could easily get parts if we have any breakdowns or anything, and they're relatively inexpensive to fix real quick and get the stuff to do it with. Somebody asked me the other day when they see me first starting to do this project, why not just buy a new sprayer, is what they said. To buy a 500-gallon sprayer, this sprayer here is a 525-gallon sprayer. To buy a 500-gallon sprayer like this, with hydraulic fold, with height adjustment hydraulics, with electric solenoid shutoffs for boom controls, and everything else like this one has, and basically this setup. A good used one, you're looking at least 7,000 to 8,000. A good used one. If you get into maybe a project one that you're going to have some bugs to work out of, you're probably looking in that 6,000 range. Then that's probably more in the 300 gallon sprayers, not really 500 gallon. I didn't really see a lot of decent looking 500 gallons when I looked for that money. If you buy this sprayer new, like it sits now, or one to replace it, like it sits now, you are looking anywhere from the $15,000 to into the $20,000 range for a 500 gallon sprayer with electric shutoffs, the hydraulic booms, everything. As it sits right now, we've probably got $3,000 in this entire sprayer. So I hope that answers any questions as to why I didn't just go buy a sprayer like I needed and I built what I needed. It's no different than why did I go through all the trouble to rebuild the Marless grain drill that we have from the ground up. I made pretty much all the parts that went into that thing outside of the disc that I put on it and the bearings. All the bushings, all the new depth control pieces, the ground pressure stuff, everything that went into that drill, I built by hand. I had to manufacture and make new shafts to go through it. Everything that went into that project. I'm gonna make a playlist of this project too, and repainted it and everything. Put the lights on it. You probably wonder why in the world would you go through all that? Why wouldn't you just go buy one? Same thing. Extremely overpriced. Don't cost that much to fix them and redo them, and they're just as good as the new ones that are out there today, in my opinion. When it comes to sprayers, drills, planters, stuff like that, there's not a lot to these things. There's not a lot of expensive parts on these things. If you know how to build stuff and know how to work on things, you're well better off fixing one. It's a hell of a lot of work, but when it's all said and done, you get it done and it's right, it's worth it. You're going to save a ton of money if you have your own time to devote to it. If I'd had to hire somebody to do this, it'd have been a whole lot different, because I've got a lot of hours into this thing, putting all this together, a lot of everything doing all this. The same thing with the drill. Being I was able to do it myself though, it's very worthwhile. You save tons of money. Drills are another thing. They're just outrageous for what they are. But that's why I do projects like these. The sprayer that I'd actually like to get a hold of is our 300 gallon sprayer. Or Hardy's 300 gallon sprayer. I would love to take that sprayer frame, put a 500 gallon tank on it like this one, turn around, put hydraulic fold booms on it like this one, everything, and I could actually probably build a far nicer sprayer than this one out of that one, because there's already a better frame and everything there to begin with. But this in here does what I want to do. It sprays all of our ground and it handles it. I really probably could use a Hardy 550, but I can't afford a Hardy 550. It just doesn't make sense to me to spend that kind of money on one of those sprayers when I can do this for a fraction of what those cost. So that's why I did a project like this, and I've went through all the trouble over the past 3 years building this thing to get it to where I want it to be. I'd still like to have a new cart with larger tires and wheels on it, maybe a set of wheel or narrow, maybe a tire about the size of the front tires on the tractor to get it up a little higher. I don't want it too high, because the thing is with our ground, you can see how it lays across there. It's rough. Once you get too high, so much ground height with these, and you start going over this rougher ground, you get into a lot of people turn them over, especially with 500 gallon sprayers. Thanks for watching. Please comment, rate, subscribe. We'll see you next time.